All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Frank Cadle with the Get Fit and Be Lean program that I used to lose over 20% of my body weight in 2021. And this is another in a series of multi platform live streams that I've been doing since last spring. That having some problems with Instagram, it looks like. Anyway, all last week and through this week, I've been talking about inflammation and the impact that inflammation has on not working at all. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Guess I can try again. Well, I'll just wait. All right. So inflammation's really been made out to be the bogeyman. It's definitely been held out as the source of all human diseases. And my main goal over the last couple of weeks has been to carry the message that this is just not the case. Okay. A lot of people are taking some very early and preliminary research that hasn't necessarily been applied in a systematic fashion. Oh, there we go. Looks like it is working. Good. And my biggest problem with this is not just the kind of scientific affront that I feel as a result of people just extrapolating the data into places where it's never gone. The fact that people are being ripped off, they're selling you programs and cleanses and chlorophyll drops and hawking all kinds of just detrimental stuff that's not going to help you any. Yes, there is inflammation. It is a vital process to human existence. Okay, without inflammation, none of us would make it out of infancy. Are there some negative aspects? Yes, systemic inflammatory response syndrome, sepsis, septic shock. These are secondary effects of inflammation that can be fatal. But let's understand that inflammation is necessary for us to deal with damage to the tissues, for us to deal with infections. Our whole lifetime is a battle with the biosphere, and the biosphere always wins in the end. Okay, we never win, but inflammation that does play a vital role in our ability to survive also can cause some problems if there is chronic inflammation as a result of an autoimmune state. But these are not nearly as common as they're being painted to be. And the inflammatory system is an integral part of our intestines and our gut and our nutrition. And we can eliminate inflammation. We can do it. And we do it for people who are suffering from certain types of immune system cancers. Those people aren't doing well. Okay? Zero inflammation, but bad risks of serious life-threatening infections of the type you don't see in normal people, because normal people have normal inflammation in response to things like infection. And it's just frustrating as a scientist to see this get abused by people who don't really understand what it is they're talking about. So if you look into anti-inflammatory diets, There does seem to be some indication that certain diets will increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. This is pretty well established, but the idea that this is an inflammatory result is preliminary. This is just the beginning of these immunology studies. So a lot of the studies that we look at markers for inflammation, but there isn't any clinical proof that that correlates with survival or cardiovascular events. I mean, all of that stuff is preliminary. And if you look at the largest populations that engage in fasting, which is supposed to, really be a bedrock of anti-inflammatory approaches, that would be observant Muslims who practice fasting during Ramadan. And there's no indication that that conveys any health benefit, none. And so to try and say, oh, well, if you eat our blueberry paste or drink our chlorophyll drops or whatever it is that the hucksters are selling this week, in an attempt to live longer, that's delusional and it's expensive. And I don't like seeing people waste money, particularly when the economy is going the way it is. Inflation is through the roof. I don't like seeing people waste money expecting results that they're not going to get. And so what I've done is I've put up a number of different studies on my Twitter account. And if I see any more that are of particular interest, I will put those out. But mainly, I've just tried to carry a message that we can eliminate inflation. Inflammation can be eliminated. Steroids do a pretty good job. Talk to anybody who's been on long-term steroids for the treatment of chronic inflammation. They're not doing well, okay? It's not a great way to go. So we have even stronger drugs now that will totally eliminate inflammation. Those people get fungal infections. If they have tuberculosis, it'll rise back up. I mean, it's a serious problem. So my hope is to kind of carry some rationale and kind of let people know that they don't have to go and spend a whole bunch of money on blueberry drops or whatever crap they're selling online right now. They don't have to worry, about processing of foods being the source of all evil. And, you see people going into grocery stores and turning all the labels around. Some guy's got to go. Some guy that's making minimum wage has to go back and fix that. And that's just not right. It's just not right. And, these influencers that are usually pretty privileged people are abusing the working man. And I really have a problem with that. And so, I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, if you have something that's cooked in sunflower seed oil, or if you have some processed flour in your food, or you eat some Cheetos they call it poison. They're calling it poison online. That's crazy. That's crazy. And they're doing it about everything. Some people will tell you to cut out meat. Some people will tell you to only eat meat. Some people will tell you to oatmeal is horrible for you. Oh, kale is bullshit. It's going to kill you. It's crazy. It is crazy what's going on out there. And when I started this program of Get Fit and Be Lean to lose weight and try to be healthier, I ran into this, across all these influencers, and they're not educated. A lot of them aren't dietitians. They're not, nutritional people. They don't have education. They're not physicians. Many of them are just trying to sell you something. And if you want to buy it, that's fine. That my feeling about vitamins and all of this stuff. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have to. Through the Get Fit and Be Lean program, where I took no medications, I took no cleanses, I didn't fast. Oh, welcome, Samo on Instagram. Thanks for joining. Um, and I want to welcome all my folks on. Okay, Chris and Sugar, Jimmy and Zenit, Muskegee Creek. Oh, we got lots of people. I'm sorry, I haven't been really paying attention because, like I said, I got 4 different platforms going on here. So I'm trying to keep everything coordinated. But I really do appreciate the engagement. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate it if you guys get something out of the program, because what I'm trying to do is show you that I lowered my own cholesterol by 20 points with no medication. I didn't give up meat. I didn't quit eating any kind of foods. I did stress the 2 veggie goal: 2 servings of raw or steamed vegetables with lunch and 2 servings with dinner. And I do encourage everybody to do that. And if you want to learn more about it, you can check out my channels and see the posts that I do specifically on that topic. But as far as dealing with inflammation, we can crush inflammation. We can stop it in its tracks. We have the medicines, we have radiation, we can stop all your white cells. You're not going to be doing well. And so for people to say, oh, well, if you eat this, you eliminate your chronic inflammation and you're going to live forever, that's just not true. They're lying to you. There are some indications that some foods may decrease, particularly for people with irritable bowel syndrome and chronic inflammation of the bowels. That's not most people. Okay. Those are small portions of the population. And so to try and say blanket recommendation, everybody needs to stop eating any kind of food dye, that's an overreaction without an end game that just doesn't help anybody. Why are foods processed? Foods are processed so they'll last longer and taste better. And I don't think the processing of foods is a target for demonization. Why do I get so upset when people are demonizing foods, whether it's oatmeal or kale or Fritos and Pop-Tarts? Because what's going to happen is, if you demonize that food, when those people go and indulge in that food, they're going to think, oh, well, I'm going to lose, I'm poisoning myself anyway. I might as well eat as much as I want. And portion control is what allows people to be thin and fit. This is where our problem lies. And if you get to the point where you're fit and you're thin and you want to eliminate meat or you want to eliminate all processed, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But those aren't the people I'm talking to. We're talking about kale and oatmeal. And there's 110,000 people that died from opiate overdoses last year. People are still smoking. So let's go after the stuff that's going to make the most impact and not attack safflower it's just, I don't understand the motivation behind these folks. They get some pretty big followings, and some of them do have education and some of them have published books on it and stuff. But I've read this research and it's preliminary. It's thin. It still needs a lot of fleshing out. And skepticism is the way to go when people are talking about these kind of things. Okay. If you're going to tell a whole culture that they can't eat rice or tortillas or noodles, you better have hard science covering tens of thousands of people. And so what I'm going to talk about over the next week is research and how it should be done and what you should look for to determine if it's any good. And I'll just touch a little bit on that. It's a question of being prospective, randomized, controlled, multi-center, okay, cross-sectional and longitudinal. So I'm going to talk about all of that stuff over the next week, and then we'll wrap it up next Sunday with my typical Sunday evening live. And I hope you guys will join, because I really do enjoy the prospect of reaching some people with these kind of messages. All right, those books do make me smart. I would not want to fight at WrestleMania. All my favorite wrestlers are no longer in the game. So, Am I a doctor, a real doctor, or a fake doctor? I stayed in a Holiday Inn last night. No, I'm a licensed practicing physician, but thank you for the same question that I get every time. And all right, Booney, thank you for the support. And I really hope that you guys will check out my tweets. I hope you'll check out my videos. I always like to get engagement, comments. If you have any questions, that's the place to do it. And if not, I'm going to sign off tonight. But I really do appreciate everybody's involvement. Thank you so much.